The spark of discovery. In the quiet reaches of the solar system, far from the bustling cities of Earth, a small research station floated near the cold and distant edge of Pluto. The station, called Vanguard 1, was home to some of humanity's most brilliant minds. Among them was Dr. Elias Kane, a determined scientist whose obsession with finding faster-than-light, FTL, travel had made him both famous and ridiculed in equal measure. For years, humanity had been trapped within the confines of their solar system, unable to explore the stars like the advanced alien civilizations they had encountered. While many alien races zoomed through space at impossible speeds, humans were left to watch from a distance, with their slower ships and limited technology. To them, the galaxy was vast, yet unreachable. Dr. Elias had long believed that the answer to their problem lay hidden in the depths of space, and that somewhere out there was the key to unlocking FTL travel. Most of his peers had given up on the idea, calling it impossible. But not Elias. He had spent years studying ancient alien ruins, mysterious energy patterns, and the faint signals from distant stars. Now, finally, he believed he was close to a breakthrough. On that fateful day, the small crew of Vanguard 1 was monitoring the usual data streams. The room buzzed softly with the sound of machinery and the hum of computers. The crew, though excited about their work, had settled into a routine. Nothing unusual ever happened out here. Until today. "Dr. Kane, I think you should see this." A voice crackled from the station's communication console. It was Ava Mitchell, one of the station's data analysts. She was young but sharp, and Elias trusted her instincts. Elias looked up from his workstation, a mix of curiosity and caution in his eyes. "What is it, Ava?" "I'm picking up an energy signature near the outer edges of the Kuiper belt. It's unlike anything we've seen before. It's strong, and it's stable. This could be something big." A rush of excitement surged through Elias. He moved quickly to Ava's station, his heart pounding in his chest. On the screen, a strange energy reading appeared. It pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat in the void of space. This isn't natural," Elias muttered, eyes wide. "We need to send a probe. Now." Without hesitation, Elias gave the command to launch one of Vanguard 1's advanced exploration drones. The small, sleek probe shot out into the dark, cold expanse of space, heading toward the mysterious signal. The crew gathered around the screens, tension thick in the air as they watched the probe's journey. Minutes passed like hours, and then the first images from the probe began to appear on the monitors. At first, all they saw was darkness and distant stars. But then, as the probe neared the source of the signal, something remarkable came into view. A massive structure, hidden in the shadow of a nearby asteroid. It was unlike anything Elias had ever seen. It didn't look like an alien ship, but it was clearly not natural. The structure was ancient, its surface covered in strange symbols and patterns, glowing faintly with the energy that had drawn them here. What is that?" one of the crew members whispered in awe. "I don't know," Elias replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "But we need to find out." The probe sent back detailed scans, revealing the object's complex inner workings. At the heart of the structure was a powerful energy source, pulsating with the same rhythm as the signal they had detected. "It's some kind of engine," Ava said, her voice filled with wonder. "A power source unlike anything we've ever encountered." Elias nodded slowly. This could be it. This could be the key to FTL travel. The realization hit him like a shockwave. This ancient alien structure might hold the secret humanity had been searching for, an engine capable of faster-than-light travel. But with this discovery came danger. If the energy source fell into the wrong hands, it could be used as a weapon of unimaginable power. "We need to keep this quiet," Elias said, turning to his crew. "No one outside this station can know about this. Not yet. We don't know who might be listening." The crew nodded in agreement, understanding the gravity of the situation. They had just uncovered something that could change the course of human history, but it was also something that could bring them all into the crosshairs of powerful alien forces. As Elias stared at the images on the screen, he felt a mixture of fear and excitement. This was what he had been searching for all these years. The spark of discovery that could awaken humanity from its technological slumber. The sleeping giant that was humanity's potential was about to stir. But with that awakening came a realization. Humanity was about to enter a much larger, more dangerous game. And the galaxy was watching. The race against time. The discovery of the ancient alien engine set the crew of Vanguard 1 into a frenzy. Dr. Elias Kane's mind raced with possibilities, but he knew time was not on their side. The secret they had uncovered was too valuable, too dangerous to be left unguarded. The galaxy was full of opportunistic alien species, and if they caught wind of this discovery, humanity's future could be in jeopardy. Elias gathered his crew for a meeting in the station's briefing room. The air was thick with tension as everyone sat around the large, circular table. Ava Mitchell, still reeling from her discovery, sat beside Dr. Kane, staring at the data on her handheld tablet. "We have something that could change everything," Elias began, his voice steady but urgent. "But this discovery makes us a target. If word gets out, there's no telling what alien factions might come after us. Some of them will want to steal it. Others may want to destroy it. We need to move fast." Captain Aria Wolf, a seasoned space pilot and head of security on Vanguard 1, leaned forward. "What's the plan, Dr. Kane? We can't just sit here and wait for them to come." Elias looked at her, his mind already working on a strategy. "We need to secure the engine's technology. I want to bring it back to Earth, but we can't do that without proper protection. First, we'll need to extract as much data as possible. Then, we can send a signal to Earth Command and request reinforcements." Ava raised her hand slightly, her eyes focused on the screen in front of her. "Dr. Kane, the energy readings from the engine are increasing. It's getting stronger. I don't know how much time we have before it either becomes unstable or activates in some way." Elias's face grew serious. "Then we'll need to act quickly. Captain Wolf, prepare the crew for immediate action. I want a team ready to approach the structure and retrieve whatever we can." Captain Wolf nodded and immediately left the room, barking orders to the station's crew. Meanwhile, Elias turned back to Ava. "You and I will stay here and monitor the data. If anything changes, I want to know right away." As the crew scrambled to prepare for the mission, Vanguard 1's long-range sensors picked up something disturbing. Multiple unidentified ships entering the outer edges of the solar system. Elias's heart sank. "They're coming," he whispered, more to himself than to anyone else. Ava's eyes widened as she looked at the screen. "How did they find out so quickly?" "It doesn't matter," Elias said, his voice firm. "All that matters is that we don't let them get their hands on this technology." Minutes later, Captain Wolf's team was ready. A group of 6 highly trained engineers and soldiers, equipped with advanced exosuits and high-powered weapons, prepared to board the station's shuttle. Their mission was simple: reach the alien structure, retrieve any valuable data or materials, and return before the enemy could arrive. Elias watched from the command center as the shuttle launched, disappearing into the blackness of space. He knew the risks were high. The alien structure was ancient and unstable, and any misstep could result in disaster. But they had no choice. This was humanity's best chance to leap ahead technologically, and possibly their last. As the shuttle neared the alien structure, Captain Wolf and her team communicated with Vanguard 1 through encrypted channels. "We're approaching the structure now," Wolf's voice crackled through the speakers. "It's massive up close. We're scanning for an entry point." Back on the station, Elias monitored the energy readings. The engine's power continued to rise, and the mystery surrounding its purpose deepened. He had spent his life dreaming of this moment, but now that it was here, the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on him. "We found an opening," Wolf reported. "Looks like a docking bay of some sort." We're going in. The shuttle maneuvered into the alien structure's docking bay, its thrusters firing softly as it came to a halt. The crew exited, their boots clanking on the metallic floor. Inside, the structure was vast, its walls covered in glowing symbols and strange machinery that seemed far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. "This place is incredible," one of the engineers whispered, his voice echoing in the empty halls. Captain Wolf remained focused. "Stay sharp, everyone. We don't know what we're dealing with here." As they ventured deeper into the structure, the energy readings spiked again. The alien engine, now fully awake, began emitting pulses of energy that reverberated through the walls. Time was running out. "We need to move faster," Wolf urged. "Find the control room and get the data." Just as the team reached what appeared to be the control center, the proximity alarms on Vanguard 1 blared. The unidentified ships had entered the solar system and were moving fast. "They'll be here soon," Elias said, his voice grim. "Wolf, you need to hurry. We're running out of time." Captain Wolf didn't need to be told twice. Her team quickly began downloading data from the alien systems, working as fast as they could. But as they did, the structure began to tremble, as if reacting to their presence. "I've got a bad feeling about this," Wolf muttered. Back on Vanguard 1, Elias watched the alien ships closing in. The race against time had begun, and humanity's fate hung in the balance, wakening the giant. The tremors inside the alien structure grew more intense as Captain Wolf and her team hurried to download the critical data. Each pulse from the engine reverberated through the ancient walls, like the heartbeat of a colossal sleeping giant slowly waking up. Every second counted, and the tension inside Vanguard 1 was palpable. "Dr. Kane, we've got what we need." Wolf's voice crackled over the comms. "The data is secured, but this place is becoming unstable. We're heading back to the shuttle now." Elias, his hands gripping the edge of the console, watched the energy readings spike once more. "Hurry, Captain. The alien ships are closing in fast. You don't have much time." The alien fleet, now only minutes away, was moving with alarming speed. Their intentions were clear. Whatever was in that structure was valuable, and they weren't going to let humanity keep it. Elias's mind raced as he weighed their options. The alien engine they had discovered could be humanity's greatest asset, but it could also become their greatest threat if they weren't careful. On the alien structure, Captain Wolf's team sprinted through the dimly lit corridors, their heavy boots echoing against the metal floors. The walls around them flickered with strange, alien symbols, glowing brighter with each tremor. "Stay together," Wolf commanded, her voice tense but steady. "We're almost out." Suddenly, a low hum filled the air, growing louder with each passing second. The engine was coming to life. "We've got a problem," one of the engineers shouted. "The engine's activating on its own." Wolf's eyes widened as she turned to look at the glowing walls. The alien structure, once dormant, was now alive with energy. The engine wasn't just waking up, it was preparing to power up fully. "Move. Now," Wolf yelled, pushing her team forward. The crew raced back toward the docking bay, but the structure itself seemed to resist them. Doors slammed shut, corridors twisted, and the very air felt charged with electricity. The alien engine, now fully awake, was pulling at the structure, like a living thing reclaiming its power. Back on Vanguard 1, Elias and Ava monitored the situation with growing alarm. The energy readings were off the charts, and the alien ships were almost upon them. "We're losing control," Ava muttered. "Whatever is powering that engine is beyond anything we've ever seen. It's as if the whole structure is designed to protect itself." Elias's mind raced. They had to get Wolf and her team out of there, but he also realized that this ancient alien technology might be too dangerous to bring back to Earth without fully understanding it. If it fell into the wrong hands, humanity could face extinction. "Captain Wolf, listen to me," Elias said, his voice urgent. "You need to get out of there, but don't bring anything back with you." "That engine," It's too dangerous. We can't risk it falling into enemy hands. Wolf hesitated for a split second, her instincts as a soldier warring with the reality of their situation. Understood. We're leaving the data, but we're coming back. As Wolf's team approached the shuttle, another deep tremor shook the structure. This time, the lights flickered violently, and the walls cracked, releasing bursts of energy. The alien engine had fully awakened, and it was unstable. "We need to go. Now," Wolf shouted. The team barely made it onto the shuttle before the docking bay began to collapse around them. The doors to space slammed shut just as the shuttle's thrusters ignited, and they blasted out of the structure. Behind them, the alien engine emitted a final massive pulse of energy, shaking the entire station as it began to implode. Wolf's team sped toward Vanguard 1, but before they could dock, the proximity alarms blared again. The alien ships had arrived. Elias stared at the monitor in horror as the alien fleet moved into position. There were at least a dozen of them, sleek and menacing, with weapons systems clearly armed and ready. "We're out of time," Elias said quietly. "They're here." The alien ships surrounded the structure, their sleek, dark hulls cutting through the void like predators circling their prey. But instead of attacking, they hovered silently, watching, as if waiting for something. "Why aren't they attacking?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Elias shook his head. "I don't know, but they're up to something." Just as the words left his mouth, a massive surge of energy erupted from the alien engine. The pulse rippled outward, passing through space like a shockwave. Vanguard 1's systems flickered, and the crew braced themselves as the station shook from the blast. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything went silent. On the screens, the alien structure had collapsed in on itself, consumed by its own energy. The alien ships remained motionless, as if stunned by the event. For a brief moment, the vast emptiness of space seemed frozen in time. But the silence didn't last long. One of the alien ships broke formation, speeding toward Vanguard 1. Elias's heart raced as the ship approached. He could feel the weight of the moment. The future of humanity was hanging in the balance. "We have to prepare for battle." Captain Wolf's voice came through the comms. Her team was still in their shuttle, racing back to the station. "We can't let them take us down without a fight." Elias nodded, his mind spinning. They had discovered the sleeping giant, awakened it, and now the entire galaxy was watching. Humanity was no longer a bystander in the vast interstellar game. They had just become a key player. The battle unfolds. The alien ship hurtled toward Vanguard 1 at alarming speed, its sleek, black hull gleaming in the darkness of space. Alarms blared throughout the station as the crew scrambled to prepare for what seemed like an inevitable clash. The tension was palpable, every second feeling like an eternity as they braced for the unknown. Battle stations. Captain Wolf barked over the comms, her shuttle nearing the docking bay. "We need to be ready. This won't be a negotiation." Elias Kane stood in the command center, watching the approaching alien ship on the holographic display. His heart pounded in his chest, but his mind remained focused. For years, humanity had feared a direct confrontation with an alien species. Now, with the stakes higher than ever, they were about to face the harsh reality of interstellar warfare. "What are their intentions?" Ava asked, her fingers tapping frantically on the controls as she tried to scan the ship for any sign of communication or attack. "There's no message," Elias replied grimly. "They're not here to talk." The alien ship drew closer, its ominous presence growing larger on the screen. Behind it, the rest of the fleet remained in position, as if observing the situation from a distance. The other ships hadn't moved, but the message was clear. This was a test. Humanity had awoken something ancient and powerful, and now they would be forced to prove their strength. Suddenly, the approaching ship fired. A bright beam of energy shot out, aimed directly at Vanguard 1. The station's shields flared to life, absorbing the impact, but the force of the blast sent tremors throughout the structure. "Shields holding," Eva reported, though her voice was tight with fear. "But another hit like that, and we'll be in trouble." "Return fire," Wolf ordered as her shuttle docked. She raced into the command center, her battle-hardened gaze locked on the screen. "We can't just sit here and let them tear us apart." The station's defense systems activated, launching a barrage of laser fire at the alien ship. The beam struck its hull, but the ship remained unfazed, its shields shimmering as it absorbed the attacks. "They're stronger than we thought," Elias muttered, frustration gnawing at him. "We're barely scratching them." The alien ship fired again, this time sending a volley of missiles toward the station. The impact shook Vanguard 1 violently, and sparks flew from the control panels as systems began to overload. The shields were weakening. "We can't take much more of this," Ava shouted, frantically trying to reroute power to the shields. "We need to do something, or we're done for." Captain Wolf slammed her fist against the console in frustration. "There has to be a way to even the odds. We need to hit them where it hurts." Elias's eyes darted to the data they had downloaded from the alien structure. His mind raced as he tried to piece together the puzzle. The alien engine they had discovered, the ancient technology they had awakened, it held the key to humanity's survival. But they hadn't yet figured out how to fully harness its power. "The engine," Elias exclaimed suddenly, his voice filled with urgency. "We may not understand everything about it yet, but it has enough power to level a planet. If we can redirect some of that energy toward the alien ship, we might stand a chance." Wolf's eyes widened. "Are you saying we should use their own technology against them?" "It's risky," Elias admitted. "We don't fully understand how the engine works, but at this point, it might be our only option. If we don't fight back, we're going to lose everything." Ava looked uncertain. "We could overload the entire station. One wrong move, and we could destroy ourselves." Elias's jaw tightened. He knew the risks. But with the alien fleet poised to strike, and Vanguard 1 on the verge of collapse, they had no choice. "I'll do it," Elias said, his voice resolute. "I'll link the engine's power to the station's weapon system. If we can focus the energy into a single shot, we might be able to break through their shields." Captain Wolf nodded, her expression grim. "Do it. We don't have time to hesitate." As Elias rushed to the control panel, Ava began rerouting power from non-essential systems to the station's main weapon. Every second counted as the alien ship prepared to fire again. The station shuddered as Elias initiated the connection between the alien engine and the weapons system. The lights flickered, and the air hummed with energy as the engine roared to life, its immense power flowing through the station like a surge of lightning. "It's ready," Elias said, his voice tense. "We've only got one shot at this." Wolf stood at the command console, her finger hovering over the firing button. "Let's make it count." With a deep breath, Wolf pressed the button. A blinding beam of energy shot out from Vanguard 1, crackling with raw alien power. The beam tore through space, hitting the alien ship dead center. For a moment, it seemed as though nothing had happened. The ship's shields flared, struggling to absorb the massive energy burst. Then, with a brilliant explosion, the alien ship's shields collapsed, and the beam cut through its hull like a knife through butter. The ship erupted in a fiery blaze, its remains scattering into the void. The crew of Vanguard 1 let out a collective breath of relief, but their victory was short-lived. "They're not retreating," Ava said, her voice barely above a whisper. The rest of the alien fleet remained in position, their ominous presence looming over the battlefield. They hadn't attacked yet, but they weren't leaving either. Elias stared at the screen, his mind racing. They had won the first round, but this was far from over. The alien fleet had sent a single ship to test their strength, and now they had their answer. "We've shown them what we're capable of," Wolf said, her eyes narrowing. "But I don't think they're done with us yet." Elias nodded. "No, they're not. They've awakened the giant, and now we'll see if they regret it." The crew of Vanguard 1 braced themselves for what was to come. The battle had only just begun, and humanity's fight for survival was far from over. Humanity's resolve. The quiet that followed the destruction of the alien ship was unsettling. The crew of Vanguard 1 watched the debris drift in space, but the silence didn't bring comfort. Instead, it felt like the calm before an even bigger storm. Captain Wolf paced back and forth in the command center, her sharp gaze locked onto the remaining alien fleet still looming in the distance. They hadn't moved, but the tension in the air was suffocating. "What are they waiting for?" Ava muttered, her hands gripping the edge of the control panel. "We just destroyed one of their ships. Why aren't they attacking?" Elias, still standing near the alien engine console, wiped the sweat from his brow. He had been the one to connect the alien technology to the station's weapons, and it had worked. But even now, he wasn't sure how much of that was luck and how much was understanding. They were playing with forces they barely comprehended. "They're testing us," Elias said, his voice steady but filled with unease. "That first ship was a probe, a way for them to gauge our capabilities." Captain Wolf nodded. "And we showed them we're not going down without a fight. But now they know what we're capable of, and they'll be prepared." The reality was sinking in for everyone. They had managed to destroy one ship, but the fleet out there was massive. Each ship was a potential threat, and they had already seen how advanced the alien technology was. Humanity was still outmatched, even with their newfound weapon. "We can't wait for them to make the next move," Wolf said, stopping her pacing. "If we wait, they'll strike when we least expect it, and we'll be wiped out." "What's the plan, Captain?" Ava asked, her eyes wide with concern. "We're low on power after that last shot. The shields are barely holding, and if they decide to launch a full-scale attack, we won't stand a chance." Wolf turned to Elias. "Can we use the engine again? Do we have enough power left for another shot?" Elias hesitated. "We could try, but the engine's energy output is unstable. That last shot nearly overloaded the entire station. If we push it again without making adjustments, we might blow ourselves up." Silence hung over the command center. The crew knew what they were up against. They were on the edge of a knife, teetering between victory and complete annihilation. "We need to buy ourselves time," Elias said suddenly. "We're not ready for a full assault, but maybe we don't have to be." Captain Wolf raised an eyebrow. "What are you thinking?" Elias moved to the holographic display, pulling up the alien fleet's formation. "We've shown them we can destroy their ships. They've seen what the engine is capable of, but they don't know everything. We could use that uncertainty to our advantage." Ava leaned in, intrigued. "You mean, bluff them?" Elias nodded. "Exactly. We make them think we're stronger than we really are. If we can convince them that we've fully mastered this alien technology, they might hesitate long enough for us to come up with a real plan." Captain Wolf considered the idea. It was risky, but it was better than sitting around waiting for the inevitable. "How do we pull that off?" "We use the engine to create a massive energy signature," Elias explained. "Something big enough to make them think we're charging up for another attack, maybe even something larger than the first one." "But we don't fire?" Ava asked. Elias shook his head. "No, we just let them see the buildup of energy. If they believe we're about to unleash something even more powerful, they might reconsider their approach." "It's a long shot," Wolf said, but there was a glimmer of hope in her voice. "But it might be the only shot we have." With a plan in place, the crew sprang into action. Elias worked quickly, adjusting the controls for the alien engine. He didn't need to fully activate it, just enough to make it look like they were preparing for a devastating strike. The station hummed with power as the engine began to glow once more. On the holographic display, the alien ships continued to hover in the distance, watching. "They're scanning us," Ava reported. "They're definitely paying attention." "Good," Wolf said. "Let them think we're about to hit them again." Minutes passed, and the tension in the command center grew unbearable. Would the bluff work? Or would the aliens see through the ruse and attack anyway? Finally, the alien fleet began to shift. Slowly, one by one, the ships started to move, backing away from Vanguard 1. The crew held their breath as the fleet repositioned, maintaining a safe distance. "They're retreating," Ava whispered in disbelief. "It's working." Elias exhaled the breath he didn't realize he was holding. "For now. But they won't stay back forever. They're regrouping, reassessing." Captain Wolf crossed her arms, her gaze hard. "We've bought ourselves some time. Now we need to figure out how to win this for real." The crew of Vanguard 1 had managed to delay the inevitable, but they knew the battle wasn't over. The alien fleet was still out there, watching and waiting. They had sparked humanity's resolve, but it would take more than clever tricks to truly survive the coming storm. As they regrouped and began preparations for the next phase of their fight, one thing was clear. Humanity wasn't just fighting to defend themselves anymore. They were fighting to prove they belonged among the stars. And they were just getting started.